So in this lesson, we're going to look at drop D tuning and how to get a good groove going and sneak in a few blues licks along the way. Drop D tuning, some of the things we're going to do in this lesson are not unrelated to some things that I talked about in the Raikuder lesson about playing in D when you're in open G tuning. And in fact, for example, Raikuder's arrangement of Tampa Up Solid is in drop D, and so is the original Blind Willie McTell version of Statesboro Blues, which tons of folk revival people also recorded in drop D. So it's a good thing to know your way around. It's a good tuning to be able to get around in, and it's not too remote from standard tuning, so that's always good too. So we're going to start off. The drop D tuning is just lowering the low E string a whole step down to D. So now the 6th string and the 4th string are in octaves. And we're going to alternate between the 6th string, 4th string, 5th string, 4th string in the bass. And I'm doing a bit of palm muting over here to make it a little thumpy. And then I'm going to be starting out with a D chord that's just the 5th and the root of the chord. So just playing 2nd fret on the 3rd string, 3rd fret on the 2nd fret. And the basic groove sounds like this. And so what I'm doing is I've got 1, 2, that's a pinch, and then 3 and 4 and 1, 2, 3, 4. So you play the open bass note, you grab a pinch, 4th string and 3rd and 2nd strings with the fingers, and then grab the 5th string, take off the fingers and play the open 2nd and 3rd strings, and then 4th string and put the chord back down. So that's what we're going to, that's like the foundation of what we're going to be doing. So that, the next thing is you can, when you go to the open 3rd and 2nd strings, you're kind of implying a G chord. So you can grab this note in the bass with your index finger, making basically the middle part of this familiar G chord voicing, like this. So we've got 1, 2, 3, and 4, and. So we've got the chord, here's the G bass, the open strings, back to the 4th string, and back to the chord fingering. Now if you do that, we could also do kind of a bass run on the 3rd beat of the 2nd measure. So you've got this first, and then here we could add that in. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. So I'm taking the 2nd fret on the 5th string and pulling off, and then grabbing 3rd fret on the low string and bending up a little bit, and then getting back into the groove. So now I've got a whole kind of thing going on. Now you could leave, the second time you play through the groove, you could leave that bass run out, which would create some space. So we'll play it here, and then don't play it here. Fill up that space by playing some kind of blues lick on top. Like, for example, this one. And so in this case, I'm sliding flat 3rd to 3rd on the high string over the root, 2nd, root, 6th, 5th. And so that's 1st fret to 2nd fret on the high string, 3rd fret on the 2nd string, open high string, back to the 3rd fret on the 2nd string, open 2nd string, 2nd fret on the 3rd string, And so over the bass, you'd have 3 and 4. 1. Let's see. So you'd be coming from. So you just kind of plot it over the bass. The bass is telling you where the beats are. And I'm just trying to make sure I tell you to put it in the right spot. It takes up almost the whole measure. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. So bass, slide, pinch, pinch. Just have to keep track of where the bass is. And then plot the. Now once you have that groove and you have that spot for playing a lick, you can turn it around. You can play the lick first and do the bass run second. Or you can play a different kind of lick. So there's different places you can go. So this one is only half a measure, I think. Yeah, so 1, 2, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4. So on the end of 2, 3, 4, 1. So you'd have bass, bass. So 1, 2, and 3, and 4, and 1. And it's kind of a fun lick because the bass comes in when you hit the 4th string. You're not playing the open 4th string. You're playing flat 3 to 3. You're hitting the flat 3 and sliding it. So you've got a pull off from the flat 7 to the 6th to the 5th, and then a slide from flat 3 to 3. And that happens over the bass. And you've actually got a pickup note on the and of 2, so you play 1, 2, and, 2nd fret on the 3rd string, and then 3 and 4 and, doing a pinch and a pull off from the 1st fret on the 2nd string, open, 2nd fret on the 3rd string, and then bass comes in on the 4th string on beat 4 to play flat 3 and slide up to the major 3rd. So some of these, that's totally related to, speaking of Tamp 'em Up Solid, that sort of railroad lick, which is in tons of blues tunes, but it's also in that arrangement. But here we're splitting up the notes. So got the 6th fret on the 2nd string, doing a slight bend up, over to the high string 5th fret, back to the bend, and then 7th fret on the high string, and back to the bend, and then back into the groove. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3. So again, follow the bass. Keep track of where the bass is. 1. So you're just matching it up with, here's the first bass note, 1, and 2, and 3, and 4, and. So low string, bending, pinch with the 4th string and the 5th fret on the high string, back to the bend, pinch 5th string and 7th fret, back to the bend, 4th string open, So you've got all these different things you can start to put in. There's a different bass run, so that's same spot, just ornamenting that. So instead of playing 3 and 4, 1, you're playing 3 and a 4 and 1. So in this case, I'm hitting the 2nd fret on the 5th string, pulling off the 1st fret to open, and then making the bend, and then grabbing the and with index on the 4th string open. So there's a lot of ways you can combine and recombine these ideas, but that gives you a few to start with. It starts with the groove. Make sure you've got that groove going on, and then just practice swapping in different licks as you learn them, and then return to that groove so you've got this foundation, and you can kind of like venture out and then come back in and keep everything nailed down and solid. So I hope that gives you some things to work on. Leave me a question or a comment down below if you've got one. I would love to hear from you, and I'll see you next time.